following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
To the adventure and Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Pipeman.
Or not. This is becoming a or not situation. I like this or not. Welcome to the Adventures of Pipeman, minus the Pipeman, for just a bit. He is going to join us. You know he's not going to let me do this very long without him being here. But anyway, so welcome to the Adventures of Pipeman right here on W4CY Radio, Talk for Media Presentation. Loving it. Absolutely. So let's bring on the other pipe nut. So does that make him my nuts? We're not going to go there anyway. So Juan, join me. How are you today? See, we're going to do that. Aha.
I was about to say, did you grow a pair?
I've always had a pair, but not like that. It's okay. It's all good. You know, because I knew where he was going to go with it, but no. I'm 100% all woman, no male parts. Never had any.
It's never too late. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm good. I don't need any. I mean, I have men in my life. They have them, so we're good with that.
So you're just gonna borrow them?
Borrow them, use them, however you want to, however you want to look at it.
Just loan them.
Yeah, they're on loan. I borrow them. We're not going to go there. This is not that type of show. Today is Motivational Monday. So
that's right. Save it for the OnlyFans.
We will definitely save it for the OnlyFans. But before he gets here, let's cover what today is. Okay, there's a lot of
Today's
things
Monday.
that go on today. It is Monday. It is
next topic. All right, no, you meant the what day today is for the National Day, right?
Yes, things that happened today. Let's see. It's International Day for Achievers. Does that leave everyone else out? That's kind of disturbing. Anyway,
so today's not your day. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, ouch. Boy, look, the Pipeman embodied one. Look at that.
Someone had to do it.
I know, right? Absolutely. I'm glad he can possess your body and not mine. It's also National Cheesecake Day. Ooh, that sounds yummy. You shouldn't really talk about food when you're hungry, because then you know you want to eat something, but you're not eating anything.
Yeah, that's one that I'm not going to be like excited about or sad about because I'm lactose intolerant. So
no, cheesesteak.
I think you say cheesecake.
I probably did. Cheesesteak Day.
What's a cheesesteak?
Cheesesteak? What's a cheesesteak? I don't know exactly.
You mean like a Philly cheesesteak, like a sub?
It looks like that. Yeah, I'm gonna say that. But they call it Cheesesteak Day. Let's look into it a little bit more because they do give details sometimes on these things. It looks good. It's got onions and bell pepper. It looks like cheesesteak. All right, so made. Thinly
so that's a
sliced
Philly cheesesteak.
Beef steak. That's a Philly cheesesteak. I don't know why they call it Cheesesteak Day, but maybe Philly didn't want to put the name on it today. I don't know. Anyway, it does say Philly cheesesteak later on in the description on National Cheesesteak Day. Yum. Okay, so now I'm hungry. This is just terrific, and I can't go get anything to eat. This sucks. Anyway, so it's also National Chocolate Covered Raisins Day.
Oh my God, no. Don't even get me started on that. Because I love chocolate covered almonds. Those are always good. But if I
Yes.
get a raisin in between my almonds, yeah, someone's gonna pay for that.
Well, if it's a box of almonds and you get a raisins, yeah, that would be a problem. Make sure it is a raisin. But anyway, we're not going to go there. And this is one that I will be participating in today, later on tonight. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, I'm sure, but not 5 o'clock where I'm at. National Cocktail Day. Woohoo!
Yeah,
Margarita in
we
my
all need
future.
that day.
Yes, yes.
They should move. They
please
should move that day to like maybe once or twice a week. I'm just saying. Give the
National
people a
Cocktail.
reason. You know,
Don't need a reason. Don't need a reason. It's okay that they do it every now. No, they
you
should
don't
do
need
it
a
more than
reason, but it's
annually.
always better if you have one.
Yeah, well,
At least you'll feel
not
less guilty
really.
about it.
No, well, I mean, if you're using it for a reason, but if you have a reason, it means you probably had a bad day. Only some people might drink on a good day. I mean, I don't know. I'm not an alcoholic. I don't know. But if you are, please don't get off the wagon because we're not encouraging that at all. Not even least.
Well, I think they would have to get off the wagon, right? I mean, drinking and driving a wagon.
That could cause problems. Yeah, but don't drink and drive at all. That's
Yeah,
your
no.
PSA.
Never drink and drive. You should drink and
Never.
then drive.
No.
Multitasking is very dangerous.
No. Don't drive after consuming alcohol. That's what a designated driver is for.
That's what Uber was made for.
Possibly. I don't know. It's also World Tuberculosis Day. That's something that is not something you want. That is something you
is that
from.
celebrating tuberculosis, or is it like trying to find a cure? What connotation does this day have?
Let's see. They are saying commonly referred to World TB Day. It's a global public health campaign to build awareness about tuberculosis. This is something that's been eradicated pretty much. Not eradicated because it's still around, but it used to be worse years before all of our time. I mean, back in the World War II days, like 1940 something, tuberculosis was still really bad. I don't think.
Okay, so this is what I'm looking at here. It says World Tuberculosis Day, honoring the relentless human spirit in the face of a formidable adversary, a disease that has shaped history and medical progress. So it's kind of like in honor of the people fighting through it, which is, that's good. So it doesn't have a bad connotation behind it.
Well, yeah, if you made it through it. If you didn't make it through it, it's not very good.
And then it's also National Adverse Drug Event Awareness Day.
I didn't have that one. Interesting. What is that one about?
Well, let's see. It says it highlights a serious healthcare issue, the high number of injuries and deaths caused by adverse drug events. So it's pretty much like an awareness day.
There you go. Well, here's an awareness. If nature didn't make it, don't take it. I didn't make that up. You can hear it on TV, on commercials.
Yeah, well, nature also makes cocaine, so.
Does it naturally make it, or does that have to be processed? Weed grows as a weed, so to speak, but does cocaine just grow on a tree or a plant, or no?
Not in the powder form.
Okay, so it's got to be.
But you can still take the cocoa leaves and make a tea out of it.
Cocoa leaves,
or chew on the
same thing as
or chew on the leaves.
Is that the same as hot chocolate?
This is what I've heard. I don't know anything about it. Okay.
Yeah. Don't do anything that we talk about at home, people. We're not encouraging any of that.
It's not like people are gonna walk into a tree like in the random wilderness,
Let's try this one. Put it in the tea, dip, and chew.
I have never seen seeds for these trees, so I don't know how they. I don't even know how they grow them.
See, I don't know how would it be in nature made if it doesn't grow out of the ground? I don't know, or in water or whatever, because there are hydroponic plants And that is a natural way to go for things. For certain things, you can get to grow like that, like green onions. Green onions will grow out of water. You get you some green onions in the thing, save off the last little bit with some roots, put it in a shot glass. Yeah, I did that. I'm
Yeah,
sure there's
I do. I
pictures
do
of it
grow my
somewhere.
own green onion, and they
Nice.
do grow like very fast.
Yes. And they can grow right out of water. They don't need to be in mud,
Soil.
right?
Yeah, but it helps to have soil too.
It does. But I can get things to grow in water a lot faster than I can get them to grow in soil, because this is not a gardening show.
I
So
guess you don't have a green thumb. You have a blue thumb.
I don't have a green thumb. They're not green at all. I kill things. Oh my God. Like, I walk into a plant store and they're like, hide, please. She's coming in. Don't. I can't even keep a freaking air plant alive. An air plant is something that you have to freaking do nothing with. It died. So that should show you the quality of air or something. I don't know. Anyway, speaking of quality of air, the tuberculosis thing is a microbacterium type of thing that gets in you and you can't breathe and all that good stuff. It's nothing you want to get. So be aware of it. Be aware of your surroundings and your situations and all of that good stuff. So enough about that. Let's see what else is on the agenda for today, because maybe somebody kidnapped the Pipeman. Is that the case? I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but
Well, I haven't received a ransom, so
he's there. This is probably the test. Real test. Huh. Think it would just be given back without a ransom. Actually, give him a few moments and then
No, you didn't put me on the show. I was
Uh-oh.
waiting for my engineer to put me on the show. Okay.
They gave him back.
waiting
Look, no ransom
patiently.
needed. They gave him back.
What were you talking about?
Patiently? Really? I don't
Bacteria?
think
Is that how you do your hills with a K now?
yeah, she was trying to
What?
explain all the diseases that she has.
We were talking about tuberculosis.
About
No.
what?
No.
She was talking about fellatio and all
tuberculosis.
the things that she's gotten from it.
No. No.
Well,
No,
what were you
indeed
talking
not.
about
That
then?
was
Swamp
not
nut?
even.
Is it the bacteria in your backyard in the in the bayou?
No.
Can I?
We
do
were
I have to
talking
avoid
about
Louisiana?
the days.
She was trying
And
to
most people
explain
do, yes.
tuberculosis in a scientific form, but it wasn't going well.
I
Okay,
was
well,
not.
All right. What were you trying to explain, Rebel? Come on
I
now.
wasn't trying to explain anything. I was just saying what tuberculosis was, because seeing as today is World Tuberculosis Day, we
Can
were
you
just
say
covering a little bit about that.
tuberculosis 10 times fast?
Why would anybody do that?
I want you to do it for me.
He asks a lot. Tuberculosis, 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 tuberculosis. Yeah, you see what you did? You gave me the tuberculosis.
See, that's what happens too. Okay, so
That's a
seriously
test.
though, what was the day that I focused on for today? Did you talk about that yet, or did you wait for me?
We mentioned that it was the day, but I don't know if you're going to do a contest, anybody can guess what the one day that I mentioned was that you would do.
Just tell us what the day was.
International Day of Achievers, for achievers.
Yes. And so if you're not a serial killer and you have become successful in life, you should be celebrating today because you are an achiever. That's the deal.
Because they're not a serial killer? Do tell.
Well, because
what kept you?
You don't have to be a serial killer. Okay. So, all right. So here's the thing. One of the biggest pipe peeves is these people that come on interviews and they say the reason they did all these heinous things is because of their childhood.
Oh, back to them again.
Cry me a river, okay? Like every person on the face of the earth has some childhood trauma, some more than others. it doesn't mean you can't choose the good path. Like sitting there blaming your parents, blaming your, weird uncle, blaming rebel. None of that is going to help you. Okay.
Well, in all fairness, when you blame Rebel, it's because of a reason, like a good reason, right? It's always her fault.
So everything's always my fault.
And I want to know why, we sent you out new real equipment while you're wearing a headset.
This is a totally different. We've already discussed this situation. It's a totally different computer.
Yeah, but we sent the stuff out so that you
For
could
a
take the
different
mic and move
computer.
it over.
It's for a different computer.
Juan, did we or did we not even test her moving it over if she had an arm? Yeah,
we did.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's
Again.
for both purposes. It's for both purposes, Rebel. Okay. Just saying. Like, how can you be the representative of us and not use a real mic?
What is wrong with this one?
It's not a real mic.
Can you hear me talking on it?
Okay. Now you're just giving creed to all the DIY people. As long as they have something you can hear them on, their sound quality is just perfect.
But see, that's why they need to come here. They need to come do their show at Talk 4 Media.
Right. That's my point. So if you're promoting for them to come to here to do their show, you have to represent the professionalism, not just when you're engineering shows, but like people watch this stuff and say, oh, well, look at her. She's a professional engineer and she's wearing a cheap headset.
This is Turtle Beaches. They weren't cheap. And
how much was it?
Go look it up. I don't know.
What's the brand name of it?
Turtle Beach.
Turtle Beach. Yes, it's a very popular mic brand.
Yeah, for gamers.
It's a headset for gamers.
Not for podcasters.
Exactly. Like, listen, okay. We're gonna talk about this tomorrow on Travel Tuesday, but listen, I'm about to head to a major podcasting conference and a major broadcasting conference, and I guarantee you they're going to want to see a real mic.
Probably, but
yeah, I don't think you're gonna see that.
But
that
I need my hands to do stuff.
Oh, I didn't say you had to handheld it. We didn't send you a handheld one.
Nope. You sent me a boom type of thingy. So
yeah, and then all you gotta do is swing it around. You can swing it around from one studio desk to the other and use it. You might be a serial
plug
killer.
Plug it from the other one.
Are you too busy doing your hills with a K in that you cannot?
What is this hills with a K stuff?
Think about it. Juan, did you figure it out?
Yep, you have to replace the H.
Don't say it.
I'm not gonna say it.
I'm telling her not to say it. I could see her saying it. She'd be like,
okay.
Take away the H. Okay, put in
got it. Okay, so cereal.
Yes. Okay. So I like it better than
not training me, grooming me to be one.
I like it. Well, see, I like saying, you know what? I'm going to start a new thing. I think that sounds better than saying unalive. Just say hill with a K. Or you could say nerder with an M.
Nerder?
The nerder. The nerdered the nerd.
It's way too close to neuter.
Yeah,
that has a whole different meaning.
Yeah.
Does it though? Does it though? Think about it.
Yeah, because if you can get neutered, but you're still alive.
No, seriously though. I mean, think about it. Okay, Rebel.
Yes.
You were a child once, right?
Once.
Okay.
A long time ago.
Far
ago.
Your
last voiceover.
Yeah.
But anyway, so my question to you is, did you have anything traumatic happen in your childhood?
Yes.
Did you
Many
become
things.
a serial killer
Well,
with a K?
I am not going to answer that question. I'm plead the
Yeah,
fifth.
you're gonna everybody that ever pleads the fifth, it's because they're guilty, man. Like nobody
Duh.
pleads the fifth when they're telling the truth.
Well,
So
that's why I
you
said I plead the fifth.
you did choose the bad road then. How many
Yes,
hills do you have?
unfortunately. Again, that's putting information out there that need not be found. I know they're only looking for
Okay,
2 right now,
so
but
There are no hills in the bayous.
I have to I have to
but alligators
say
before.
I have to say, Rebel, that
Mhm.
you need somebody to coach you through your trauma because you went down the wrong road.
I know. It was so terrible.
No,
Not.
seriously. Seriously, though. I mean, like, listen, when you're a kid, we all go through this traumatic stuff, and we could choose to be what we don't like in our parents or what's bad about our parents, or we can pull role models from somewhere else. We can choose other coping skills. Like, that's a big key with me, coping skills. You can't just sit there and say, I had a bad childhood, boo hoo, I'm going to heal everybody. Okay? With a K. You just can't, you just can't do that. You just can't do that.
Not
Okay?
everybody, just some people.
Yeah, well,
I
like,
I mean,
mean,
it's
I
still
don't
not a
believe
good
those serial
excuse.
killers.
and we're not talking about specifically Menendez this time, and that's why you said, oh, we're going to do this again. No, I'm just saying in general. Charlie Manson. What's his name?
Didn't he
You
have an
know,
agenda?
say that again?
Didn't Manson have an agenda?
Well, yeah, but
Like a
he had
reason?
childhood trauma, and that's what started it all.
Is
I think
that what
that's
is
that's
that
true
what
for
he
all of
did it
them.
for? Just
The
because
po-
you have trial, that's something to fuel the fire. That's not something that you're gonna, unless of course you were like the brothers and did it to the people who did it
no,
to you.
there's like Juan said, like almost every serial killer, when they're asked why they did it, once they're finally caught, they all blame it on their traumatic childhood.
That's where it
Every
started.
one of
That
them.
didn't finish it. Everyone
It's not a
really.
matter of whether it finished it. It should have never started it. Okay.
Yep.
The fact is, okay, so I had some of the things that happened to me in childhood were way more traumatic than some of these serial killers talk about. And first of all, it's how you look at things, number one. Second of all, find your role model somewhere else. Me, I got made fun of by Thing One because my role models literally, seriously, were Leave It to Beaver and the Brady Bunch. Because
Wasn't
I
that a false sense of security though?
no, because you create that
Really?
later in life. No, you
The false
create it
sense of
later.
security or what you saw in TV?
No, it's a matter of not duplicating what's on TV. It's more like the values that TV of that day were teaching. Like it's kind of hard today
Did they?
because the value of TV does not teach stuff like that.
There's
But they
value
were
in TV
trying to
today?
they were trying to teach. Yeah, exactly. They were trying to teach certain values, and you
Were
pick
they
certain
though?
things of it. I do think so. Yeah.
Okay,
See, your
what values did
negativity is why you become a serial killer.
not, and it's not negativity, it's actually looking into what did you see on Leave It to Beaver?
What did I see? Well, see, you're going to go a different route with that.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay.
What did you see
But
when you watched Leave It to Beaver? And what applies today?
what I saw
What did
was
it help?
I did not see parents beating the piss out of their kids and thinking that that's what's making them a better person. Like, all the kids of Gen X and Boomer that got beat, that most of them today all say, yeah, I think they should do that to kids today because look at how I turned out. It was good for me. And I call bullshit on that too. Like, there's
Right, because
not
they
one
didn't want it then
person
and
I've
they
ever
wouldn't do it
known
now.
that said that actually is mentally like
Stable.
in a good place. Yeah, exactly. In a good place. I mean, just the fact of, so yeah, I'll give you what you were a year ago is you were looking at the whole MAGA thing, which some people do
The whole
believe
what?
in. The MAGA thing. That's what MAGA's about, ding dong. It's about going back to that, to leave it to Beaver, to mommy, and to not mommy dearest. That's
Don't go there.
the wrong way. That's my way. Okay. To going to Daddy Knows Best and all those shows.
Father
Okay.
Knows Best. Didn't the mama die and he only had 3 kids?
Okay. And did the kids seem like they had mental issues to where they wanted to heal people with a K?
I didn't watch that show. I don't know.
But that's what I'm trying to say. Okay. Like they were wholesome shows, is what I'm saying.
They were
What you might be
shows
getting
for
out of
back
it.
then.
Yeah. They were just wholesome shows in general. Why do you say no? I want to hear why you say no.
Because if you really go back and look at things as time evolved, I learned this by listening to old programs before television, radio programs. Listening to the old radio programs,
like
actually,
the ones where they would fool people that the Martians were invading our planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stuff we can't do today on radio and television. But seriously,
what did that teach you? That you should
the
rule
world
with
is gullible.
fear? To rule with fear?
No, that
Okay,
taught
go
people
on.
to
Go
learn
on.
what
Let's
they're
see what
listening
you got
to.
to say.
But listening to the old programs and listening to their behavior and the things they said, that was acceptable in that time, which is definitely not acceptable now. And people look at it differently. Some of the older radio programs, women couldn't vote.
That you're talking about, like it's all, that's what I mean. It's all what you focus on. Me, what I focus on from Leave It to Beaver and Brady Bunch is not negatives. And that sounds like negatives to me. I focus on they were a very loving family. I focused on that they all helped each other. I focused on that they treated each other with respect and other people. And they were very nice to other people. And they were people
But they put on a show in public.
How do you know? Were you in their household?
No, but that's what I'm saying. Do you see how they were taught that you have to do things?
They weren't teaching to put on front. They were teaching that's how they lived. I didn't get that out of that.
Did they really, though?
I didn't want to put up a front. I wanted the real deal. You
Everybody
sound like
wants
somebody
the real deal.
Like you sound like the person that says fairy tales don't exist anymore because they had a bad relationship and they're now scorned. I know they exist. I see them. Just because I didn't experience them yet doesn't mean they don't exist.
Anything can exist. It's what you make of things.
Well, that's my point exactly. So when you have this horrific childhood, you can choose to turn it into a fairy tale or keep it a nightmare. That's your choice.
Everybody
it may not
has
be
choices.
easy. It may not be easy. It usually isn't easy. But anything worth anything is not easy. You got to put in the action. Listen, Jim Rohn, who was the mentor of Tony Robbins, used to say, people don't understand the power of positive thinking. It doesn't mean if you have weeds in your garden that you just sit there and tap your feet and say, there are no weeds, there are no weeds. You have to get down on your hands and knees and you have to pull the weeds out and get rid of them. That's
maybe she'll understand it better.
Put the work in.
Maybe she'll understand better if we speak her language. Cinderella did not become Carrie.
There you go.
Okay, she didn't go to the ball and just heal everyone.
What? But what happened after she got with the prince? What happened to her evil stepsisters and her evil stepmother? What happened to them?
Well, she didn't heal them.
Did she take them into the castle and put them in nice rooms? No.
Now, if she
make them
was
work for it?
No,
if
nobody
she was
said
to become a serial healer, if she was to become a serial healer, she would have taken that glass slipper, breaking it in half, and then stabbing someone with it. That's all I'm saying. No doubt.
And you brought up a great point, Juan, because right here, you proved my point, Rebel, with what you're saying. No, you don't choose to have those people in your life and affecting your life. Yeah, they treated her like crap, so she did not give them nice things. No, you don't give people things that treat you like crap, you find other people and you surround yourself with people that can bring you where you want to be instead of staying around the people that want to keep you down. That's the point. So if you have a childhood that makes you want to become a serial killer, okay, then maybe you should start hanging out with different people. What they do instead is they hang out with the same type of people, and that's why they become what they are. Now, I will say a disclaimer though, that there are probably children that are born already destined for that, and that I do blame the parents on, because usually the case, if you do the research, when kids are born that way, it is because of things like drinking alcohol while they're pregnant.
So they say that there's a gene that has the propensity to become that.
Yes.
So there are some genes that could be activated later on in life that could lead to that. But
you're correct. But if you have coping skills and you know how to deal with things, you can avoid that. Just the same that there is also a gene to be an alcoholic. Okay. But or an addict. And yes, you may have the propensity, but if you know you have that gene and you know you have the propensity, then you stay away from that stuff so it never starts. My father was an alcoholic. He didn't drink till his late 20s. He was also a drug addict. He didn't take his first drug till he was 38. And we found out he's an addict, a total addict. But like, if he never experimented, it wouldn't have been an issue. Because he waited till 38.
When you say experimented, what did he do?
Well, the first thing he did was smoke a joint. And from then, he smoked like a quarter ounce a day. Then it went to cocaine. Like, but if you never tried these things, like
not
Rebel,
you've
never tried them. Not because what?
Right.
Say that again.
He didn't go to cocaine because of weed. He went to cocaine.
I'm not saying he did, but you know
weed
what?
Is not a freaking. Let me try this. So I'm gonna go to this. That is not a gateway drug.
It absolutely.
I just want other people to realize that.
It absolutely is a gateway drug. It's the first one that almost every person that does drugs tries. Like 99% of the people that are drug addicts, the first drug they
more
try,
easily available and cheaper.
It's not just because of that, because it is a gateway drug. Because listen, before you do any drugs whatsoever, you have a fear of drugs. You have a fear of how they may change you, what they would do, what everybody tells you, all this stuff. The minute you take a drug like marijuana and it doesn't do all the scary things that they talked about in Reefer Madness back in the 50s, then you're like, everybody's a butt full of shit, and then you start trying other things because you don't have that fear that you did before you took that first hit off of pot. And the same whole. Go ahead.
And there's a problem with this because there's a lot of drugs that you only have to take them once to become addicted to them.
Yep.
And the trying it out leads to that addiction.
And that's what I'm saying. There's also some of us. Do you know that some of us have something in our body that if we try cocaine once, we die? As one example. And yes, what he's saying, heroin, you only need to try it once to be addicted. Okay? But listen, if you never did any drugs, you certainly wouldn't go to heroin. That's my point. You don't even go
no one jumps straight to that. Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, it is a gateway drug. And all you got to do is look at now, okay? Now that it's legalized, first of all, it's worse than ever, okay? Because the government is making it stronger, more dependent. Listen, if you get a medical marijuana license here in the state of Florida, do you know that pretty much everybody can get a maximum of 2 ounces a month, plus as far as the vapes and all that other bullshit that they make, that's stronger, the wax, the this, the that. all that's unlimited. So edibles are unlimited, tinctures are unlimited, and like, who the hell is going through 2 ounces of pot in a month? Like, you're not even getting off the couch if that's the case.
I feel like to some extent, people will see that as a challenge.
I do
Like, this is
too.
the most I can get. Let me get that.
I know people too, man. Are just good. They do. They load up on it, and it's like, so. But
if you think about it, it's client retention, right? Because they know like you probably cannot go through that much, and if you do, there's not much else you're going to be doing with your life. So it's just about keeping the client to keep buying.
And there's no such thing. Okay, this is a funny thing. Okay, way back when there were things like there was the shitty weed, then there was the good weed. There is no such thing as shitty weed now. Like, the government makes the strongest shit possible. Okay. And then they got to make it stronger because they make all these different versions of it,
Yep.
and it's like, I know somebody that does that wax bullshit, and they can't even smoke actual weed because it does nothing to them. So for all the people also saying about weed and how weed doesn't do anything to you, or weed's not addictive or whatever, then how come these people can't even smoke weed anymore because they've smoked even stronger part of it, and it is like, it's all farce.
And the thing is, like, some of them are synthetic, but the thing that really, really like gets me the most is the names they they put on these things.
Oh my freaking
Listen to
God.
this. There's I looked it up. There's different strands of weed. Some of them, these are some of the names: Alaskan Thunderfuck, Cat Piss. Hold on, it gets worse.
Well,
Cat
I'm
Piss,
allergic to cats, so I wouldn't be getting the cat piss. Okay.
Alien Breath. There's
Well,
a Barack Obama.
how about the ones for kids, like grape something or other? They have all these
Wait a
different.
minute. No, wait a minute. There's no thing for kids.
Oh, look,
You think
Not
they're
there's
not
for kids.
appealing to kids when they call
We're-
it stuff like bubble yum
But
grape or something?
It's
Yeah,
not
and
made
some
for
of them-
children.
no, but some of them do have names that would be, attractive to children because they sound fun. They sound, like something
They're
that they
not
would see in
fun,
a
and
cartoon.
it's not what you think it is. So do not do this. Any of this underage.
Which, by the
okay?
way, I got to show one at the South Florida Fair, bubblegum cigarettes.
Yeah.
Oh, those are so fun. You didn't see them before?
You're saying
I used
fun, but that's what led to smoking, you dingbat.
That did not lead me to smoking.
Yeah, I remember those from my childhood too.
When I
We
was
used to
a
have those too.
child, okay, everybody started off on those because they were so realistic too. The bubblegum ones, you could blow the smoke out and everything.
That was the fun part.
There were
I didn't like
candy
the gum.
ones too. There were the candy
I have
ones
the candy
too.
ones.
But that was programming kids to start smoking. Are you kidding me? Of course it
No.
was.
Yeah, between
Yes, it was.
between that and TV, smoking was always seen as something cool.
Yeah, like if you go into, there's a couple bars around here. You go into the bathroom and they have the old advertisements for cigarettes. Like, do you know what these advertisements were like back then? They were like,
Joe Camel.
yeah, and look, a cartoon character,
Oh,
or
Yeah.
you wanted to be the Marlboro Cowboy, man.
That's right. The
You know,
Marlboro.
and I'm a Yankee, and I was a cowboy.
Especially like in older movies where they would show like all the cool kids in like a high school smoking, and that would be like the defining factor that they were the cool kids in the school.
Yeah, and there was so much stuff, and you could smoke anywhere.
On
Like,
an airplane.
you could smoke in anybody's house. There was not even a
Oh.
non-smoking
So-
section in a restaurant.
I heard this. I don't know if this is true. Maybe you guys can tell me. I've heard that not only were you able to smoke on airplanes, but airplanes had 2 levels, and the second level was like a drinking lounge.
Yeah,
The
there were
bigger
those,
airplanes, yes.
the bigger airplanes. But yeah, but you could be sitting right next to me and I'm blowing smoke in your face. And there's nothing you would say either. People didn't even say shit back then. It was just
as
normal.
long as that's the only thing you're blowing, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, right. If you go on some airlines nowadays, they have the older planes, and it literally still has the ashtrays in there.
They should not, in this day and age, they should not be flying airplanes that still have ashtrays in the thing.
Just think of all.
Hey, by the way,
what you're
serial
breathing in.
killers. How you like the sunglasses for the serial killers?
I like the sunglasses for the serial killers with a K.
Hey, can you do me a favor, Juan? My background, I put in the assets there, the actual banner. Can we put it up there? Because it says it all about today.
It says it all about today. There you go. The willingness to accept responsibility for one's own life is the source from which self-respect springs. Thank you.
So, rebel. In case you didn't
Joan
understand that part of it, it means it doesn't matter what your childhood was. It doesn't matter what your parents did or anybody else did. You have to be willing to accept responsibility for your own life, your own actions, because you do have a choice. And there are choices and you may not like the choices you have, but you know what? You can choose good over evil. And listen, if I were to become a serial killer, well, then I do know a few people I would put on the list, but it's just not in my nature.
I have a list.
Know? But I have seen, okay, like as an example, there's some serial killers, they saw some like bloody, gruesome scene. I saw one of those. It didn't make me want to kill anybody or myself. So, yes, there are people that have more of a propensity, but listen, you have a choice. W. Mitchell is one of my favorite motivational speakers. He's got an amazing story. Maybe we'll show it on here one week because he had one accident that 90% of his body got burned. And then he had another accident that made him a quadriplegic. And his answer to life is, it's not what happens to you, it's what you do with it. Now, he could be a very pissed person. He could take a very different attitude. We all have a choice.
As a quadriplegic, there's not much you can do in terms of going out and being a Hitler, you know.
Well, you could, because you could fool people and have them come over and then have a drink with them. See, that easy. There's choices.
And how are you going to remove the body?
Well, that's why you have your like Harley Quinn counterpart to help.
Oh.
You know, you need somebody in life to help you. But see, that's the problem, though. Most of these serial killers, they never really did have anybody that helped them, and nor did they seek it out. And that's the difference. So people could say that, well, I didn't have anybody. You seek it out then. I was 11 years old, and I was reading Tony Robbins books. How many 11-year-olds do that? Not many. Okay. But it was my choice because I wanted another route. And it is a definite peeve of mine that when people blame heinous shit they do on their parents, their childhood, their exes, their this or that, stop blaming everybody else and take responsibility for your own life is what I say, because there are choices. Now, for you, Rebel, maybe Brady Bunch is not a choice. Maybe it's more like Green Acres because it's more Louisiana type of thing. Okay.
Nope. Have you ever sat down and watched that show too?
Seeing that maybe you ought to change that stinking thinking.
It's not stinking thinking if you actually sit there. It's overthinking is the problem.
You're finding the negative instead of finding the positive.
It's not negative.
The choice. The
it's
choice is
negative.
what you take out of something. When you read something, see something, hear something, it's how you interpret it, how you perceive it, what you get out of it. And you're choosing to get the worst out of these shows, and I'm choosing to get the best out of these shows.
I didn't get the worst out of them.
And it's Tuesday, so Juan's choosing a taco.
It's Monday, and I did
Monday.
have to.
It's Tuesday somewhere.
Yeah,
It is.
It's
On the other
Tuesday
side
in
of the
Bali right now. It's Tuesday in Australia. Okay, it's
So it
Tuesday in
still fits.
Thailand.
It's Tuesday
And
somewhere.
most of, let's see, what Latin country is it tomorrow right now?
I don't know. I'm sure somebody can Google it. But, in that background of yours, I actually had to look really, really good to make sure those were succulent plants and not weed buds. Yeah.
Oh my God!
Well, if you
where
don't
did
know the
your head
difference
go?
between a succulent
I
plant and,
don't.
and weed,
I don't. I know what a succulent is, but I mean, I couldn't see from a distance. So it's like, what are those things?
Rebel,
I'm like, oh, there's little
See, you're
succulents.
trying to find
Rebel,
like you're like
Yes.
thinking that this positive thing has a bunch of marijuana plants on it. But go
Rebel.
ahead.
Wait, we're
If it
talking
looks
about
like if it looks like a succulent, it's a succulent.
Do you know a lot? And do you know a lot of succulents, Swamp Nut? So let me ask you a question, Rebel. Seriously,
Yes, Pipeman.
if you were to take the most positive thing that ever happened in your childhood, what would it be?
Oh, jeez.
Remember, I didn't
Positive
say
from
the
childhood?
positive thing, the most positive. So in other words,
I'd have to search through all of this stuff just to find something positive.
search through the stuff. Are we in the movie Inside Out that you have to go to look at all the balls and see which one's the one for that memory?
Yeah.
She's gonna pull out the diary from like 100 years ago.
Seriously, just off
Which
top
I
of your
have,
head,
actually.
what's your most positive thing you can pull out of childhood? Off top
I
of your
made
head.
it through.
Okay. That's positive. That is positive. Okay, Juan, how about you?
You mean like a positive thing that like shaped us into who we are?
It can be whatever you want it to be. The most positive thing you can think of right off top of your head of your childhood.
Nothing's coming to mind right now, but I'm sure I'll come up with something.
Thank you. I'm not the only one.
Well,
What about you, Pipeman?
Well, I'll answer that real quickly, but I have a Tony Robbins answer for both of you. If you did know, what would it be? Because you do know, a lot of times we don't want to admit it to ourselves. Me, number one, I didn't become a serial killer. That's something I'm very proud of. And
Congratulations.
under the worst of circumstances, with no guidance or help from anybody, and living on the streets, sleeping on park benches, I'm here today doing this radio show right now.
So you made it through, just like me, right?
I go
I think
than making it through. I did what other people say you can't do. Like a lot of people say you can't do this. Oh, I couldn't go to college because I worked 80 hours a week to put myself through college, 17 credits a semester. And you got to be willing to do what others aren't willing to do is the key, and most people aren't willing to do what I did. Okay. And you have to want it bad enough. That's another thing too. Maybe people don't want, maybe people do want to stay in a certain comfort zone, let's say. Okay. But the bottom line is you have to find the positive in everything, or else you're just going to keep being in a black hole. If you want to find the rainbow, you got to look for the rainbow. What were you going to say, Juan?
so. I think now that I'm like just analyzing my childhood, like just in the short moment that since you asked the question, I think the most positive thing I can think of is my ability to turn mistakes into lessons and then learn from those lessons, including like other people's mistakes. Like I learn from other people's mistakes, not only my own. So I think that's what helped me shape into like who I am today.
See, I love that. So that's a great answer. And see, that's what happens if you just, I think a lot of people, if they just for a moment just didn't think so hard and just let whatever was in their head come out, there are things we could pull out of it. Listen.
Yeah, if I do that, we won't have a show.
Yeah, right. My mother, her name was Dolores. That says it all. Okay, like that pretty
Pains.
much. Yeah,
that's what it's translated to. Pains, plural,
exactly.
Not singular, plural.
Yeah,
pains.
Exactly. So, that says it all. But the bottom line is as evil as she was and things that I went through, I can pick things that she did that were positive that maybe when I was a kid, I didn't think were positive. You know, like that's another thing. Sometimes we think what our parents did was traumatic, and really, was it really that traumatic? Was it really that traumatic that they made you eat your vegetables, as an
Yes.
example?
Oh,
I feel,
that's not
like
something traumatic,
most
Gracie.
of the punishments that they used to give us as kids are now like rewards.
I know, right?
You know, like if they would say like go to sleep early or something like that. Like
Oh,
nowadays, like I'm
I
looking
thought you
forward
were.
to that.
I thought you were talking about spankings.
Yeah, that too. But you know,
But seriously, though, it's like, I mean, it's all how you look at things. It's how you interpret it, not what's going on. Just like what's going on in the world today. You have all these people on social media that are angry, attacking each other on a bunch of things that probably don't affect their everyday life in any way, shape, or form. And all it's doing is making their life
Forever.
worse. Huh?
yeah.
Or ever. I mean, I've
Yeah.
seen people comment on shit that had nothing to do with them ever.
Exactly.
And they're going to open
Exactly.
their mouth and like, seriously? What the fuck?
Listen.
What is it that Nanette told me once? She said, based on your personality and your handwriting analysis, you were probably one bad experience away in your childhood from becoming a serial killer.
I think everybody's one bad experience away from being a serial killer. To be honest, that's why I say you have to pull things from elsewhere to get away from that, because that would be a very easy cop out. It is easy. It's easy to just let go. Like there's been times in my life, because almost every person in my life has snapped, and I mean literally snapped. And I've sat there sometimes. I'm like, fuck, man, how come I never snap? Like sometimes you do feel that way because you always got to work through everything. It's so easy for the people that snap, and then they have that excuse because they snapped. My father did things because he snapped.
Define snap.
Snap is where you
define
lose your
that.
mind and start doing things that are not good, that you really have no control over yourself anymore.
Just think of like mass shootings.
Okay, but a straight-laced individual who okay, but that's not
Plenty of straight-laced individuals snap.
A lady who always okay, wait a minute, look. So like say a woman who always wears dresses and always always dressed to the nine, but one day she goes out in pants. That could be her snap.
That's
you
not
don't
losing
know
it though.
your definition
Rebel,
of snap.
is that what they teach
Yes, it
you
is.
in Louisiana
Yes, it
schools?
is. Oh, yes,
Okay.
it is. Hold on a minute. Yes, it is. Think about it. She has
Snapping
now
is
changed
extreme.
everything.
That's not snapping
That
because
is
it's
extreme
not
for her.
negative. It's not negative.
Yes, it
Snapping
is.
when things happen and negative things happen because of it. Like
You only
killing
listening
people
from
with a
one
K.
view.
You change
You're
as you
only-
grow older. Like for example, like some
Everybody
people
does.
like to be more comfortable when they get older, so they go from fashionable to comfort.
And you
That's a
could
change
say,
people go
hey,
through, and that's normal.
you could say, Rebel, that I snapped then because in my 20s and 30s, I wore suits every single day during the work week. And even starting this radio station when nobody else was, I was still wearing it. Now I wear shorts and a t-shirt. So I guess I snapped, huh, Rebel?
Did you?
Or maybe I just don't need to wear those things and it's more comfortable like this and I don't have to do that. And when I have to wear a suit, like next week when I go cover podcast movement and NAB, which we'll talk about tomorrow, on Travel Tuesday on the Adventures of Pipeman, W4CY Radio, W4CY.com. But we do have to run. I was going to end it on time too, but stuff you were saying, Rebel, was very, very important. And you have once again proven why I never want to live in Louisiana. In fact, I probably will never visit there again because the thinking you people have there is why we have movies like Deliverance.
My thinking does not describe everyone's way of thinking here in Louisiana. I just want to say. I am not the choice example to use.
There are
for
a
that.
couple people that literally are not from there and don't think like you. Yeah, you're right. All right. You have any final words, either one of you?
Nope.
We got to talk more about this because this is a good debate. the Louisiana person debates that it's okay to be a serial killer. If you had a bad childhood, and I debate it's not. So stay tuned next time on the Adventures of Pipeman for another debate on that. And Studio Nut was quite the moderator too. He was like the moderator of the debate.
Yeah, I was pretty much neutral the whole show.
You were the one in the middle. You were the one in the middle,
Literally.
stopping both of us trying to serial kill each other. Anyway, we got a lot going on. Pipeman's going on the Pipeman radio tour. We'll talk more about that tomorrow on the Adventures Pipeman W4CY. Meanwhile, roll it, Juan.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.